Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Fabul Gauntlet Semi-Finals. We have got riversmccown versus moonblazewolf in their third and final game of this exciting match. My name is Rex Raoul, and I am joined by Maggie the Cat. Maggie, what's going on?
Hey Rex, I am super hyped tonight to be here tonight. I hope everyone else is as well. I hope you are. This is Rivers and Blaze's third of best of three match. They each have one win under their record this week, and the winner tonight will be moving on to the finals next week to face Invenerable, who has already secured his place as a finalist in this Fabul Gauntlet tournament. So this is an extremely hype match. I am so happy to be here, and I hope everyone else is too.
Yeah, this has been a really exciting event. Glad that everybody is able to join us here. We got a big crowd, a big generous crowd, getting lots of love from the community, giving us subs and everything like that. And all of you all are great for supporting Free Enterprise here tonight.
Absolutely. Just want to give a quick thanks and shout out to everyone who got this hype train going. We haven't even kicked our race off yet, and we've already had so many gift subs and bits that have been donated. So thank you all so much for all the generosity, for building our community up. Also, a quick shout out to our restream team. We have Bakashinobi doing the tracking and Belvalis Skunk doing the restreaming tonight. And of course, all of our other wonderful volunteers who have donated so much of their time to making this tournament such a success, and all of the viewers who have come out to all of the shows that we have put on. So thank you all so much for being here for all of these races and for being here tonight.
Yeah, that's definitely worth mentioning. And now we've got this race coming up between Rivers and moonblazewolf, and the last couple races have been really close, haven't they, Maggie?
Yeah, absolutely. All of the races this week have been extremely close. And yeah, Rivers and Blaze's matches have definitely been very close. It's really just come down to kind of the last decisions that they've made. They've kind of both been kind of on top of each other for all of their races. So I think everybody is looking forward to another super close race here tonight to see who's going to take it home and who's going to move on to the finals.
Yeah, these flag sets have really brought out the cream of the crop, and we've got some really good racers here tonight. And a very strong competition coming forward with an Invenerable facing whoever's going to win this one. It looks like we've got an icy cold Rosa as the start tonight with that sweet blue hair.
Absolutely. That I'm sure that our runners are definitely happy to see that. Rosa is one of the best characters in the game. And looks like we're just about to get started here. Let's see who her partner is. That's a Sid. That is a very strong start to this seed.
Yeah, they've got a very good start on their party. With the limited characters, it's really nice to have a really good early game character in Sid, and a character like Rosa who's just going to be able to carry basically anything throughout the course of the game. She's really all around very strong. And now we're going to get our objectives really shortly, and that's going to be the real thing as far as how the seed is going to go down.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see where our runners decide to go first. Of course, with the T-Pro flag enabled, some of the early checks are not going to be as strong. A lot of times Baron and Damsian are the first plays, but they may decide to skip those because they are not weighted as favorably for the treasures that can be found there. So we do see some divergence immediately. Rivers is going to check Baron, whereas Blaze is going to go up to the Watery Pass here because the treasures there are a little bit more out of the way and can be a little bit more powerful.
Right, and we've been seeing throughout the course of these bracket rounds with that T-Pro flag, as you mentioned, more people going into this early waterway check as just to get a little bit higher, not only for the better equipment, but for the more money that you're going to be able to get for selling it. Although Rivers does find a very useful item in a curse ring in the back of Baron.
Oh, that's very, very useful. We'll see if Blaze does decide to loot Baron if and when he goes back there later on, or if he's going to miss that. That cursed ring, especially this early on, is a pretty huge find. Now, we do have our objectives up. It looks like we need to defeat the boss of the waterfall, which Rivers is peeking right now. Defeat the Fabul Gauntlet, destroy the super cannon, get another Sid. Their starting Sid does not count, and then defeat Leviathan. So we've got a little bit of everything going on here.
And we got a bit of a surprise as Rivers peeks that waterfall boss and finds the wyvern there. So they're going to have to be able to set up so that the characters can get a star veil up before that mega nuke comes off. And then once they are, then being able to beat the wyvern there shouldn't take too long. But they definitely require a little bit more setup than they might have at this point.
Yeah, good knowledge to have, and I'm sure that they'll be able to go back and do that without too much trouble, especially with that cursed ring that Rivers picked up. He'll be able to manipulate his agility if he needs to get that star veil up in time. But for now, yeah, I don't blame him at all for just getting that knowledge and then moving on to do some other checks, power up his party, maybe get another character if he can find one in an easily accessible spot.
Rivers heading over to one of his favorite places to go is Silvera. Got a bunch of shops, a bunch of free chests in here. It's just a overall pretty nice town, pretty small too. Doesn't take a lot of time to loot these chests here.
Meanwhile, it looks like Blaze is going to show us if there's a character available up on Mount Hobbs. Of course, the no dupes flag is enabled, meaning that they cannot have duplicate characters. So if there is a Sid up here, which is required that they find another Sid, they do need to take that Sid, but they won't actually be able to recruit him into their party since they cannot have duplicate characters in their party at the same time.
Another bonus for having this starting configuration of characters, you've got the tools to back row glitch Sid with Rosa's equipment. So Blaze taking a little bit of time to do that before heading up here, finds Tella at the top of Mount Hobbs and sees Ogo Pogo as the boss here. We're getting our moon bosses out of the way early, aren't we?
Yeah, that's actually a really nice find. Ogopogo can be very rude in some of the higher tier spots, like you find him in the Fame Arch or on the Moon. So finding him here, he's that double big wave at the start is always going to do 50% of your character's max health right at the start of the fight. But still, finding him here in this really low level spot is going to be much easier than trying to deal with him later on.
Yes, and Tella is a very popular character. He gets access to the weak spell once you complete Mount Ordeals, and that opens up the possibility of doing a D machine grind, which is one of the, since sirens aren't as readily available as they might be in other sort of flag sets, that's been one of the more popular ways to grind.
Yeah, absolutely. We've definitely seen the D machine grind put to good use during these bracket flags during this tournament. And we see Blaze getting through that nope rope without too much trouble and able to recruit his Tella. We'll see, looks like he might be, looks like he's going to go take the treasures over on West Hobbs. These again are weighted a little bit more heavily because they are more out of the way. But with Tella in the group, he does start with exit, so he'll be able to exit right off this mountain so he doesn't have to walk all the way out. Gets a rune ring for his trouble. That's a pretty nice pickup.
That early exit is a really nice thing. Another reason getting Tella early can be very nice. Speaking of moon bosses, though, we've got another one at the bottom of Antlion Cave as riversmccown finds Plague down there. This shouldn't be too much problems, I don't think. But the damage output isn't very strong, but the hit points aren't very strong either.
Yeah, this spot only has maybe 1,000 hit points at most, and Plague is a flying creature, so weak to things like lances and bows and arrows. So Rosa, I think he even picked up maybe some charm arrows. So Rosa doing some pretty nice damage, as well as Sid, even just with, I don't know if he picked up a better weapon for Sid, but even just with his wooden hammer doing pretty decent damage. So picked up a white shirt, not a key item, but that'll be really nice on Rosa for the rest of the game to boost her white magic stat.
Right, that white shirt is going to be the best for her magically. The heroine robe would be the best for her if you wanted to maximize her damage output as an archer. So both of them are very good. The white shirt probably a bit best if you're going to be using her for healing, especially during the Zeromus fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Tella can use that white shirt. It looks like Rivers is going to go up and find that Tella, probably take that Tella. Even Tella can use that. He's not the best white mage, but early in the game, he can probably make some use out of it.
Yeah, boost his starting Cure 2 spell can definitely be useful in certain situations. And now they're fighting the bosses that each of them have already defeated. One thing is the fact that moonblazewolf had defeated Ogopogo first and got Tella. He's going to be able to exit out of Antlion Cave, whereas riversmccown had to hoof it. Now, that's not a huge saving of time. It's not a huge cave to walk out of. But with racers this good and races that have been really close, these little bits of time saving can add up.
Yeah, every little bit, and that's what we've really been seeing, especially in these last few races this week between the semifinalists, is that it's the little bitty time saves that shave off a few seconds here, a few seconds there, a minute here, that really bring it down. Because I think each race this week has really, there've only been maybe 5 minutes apart between the two the two runners at the end by the end of the seed. So shaving off any little bit of time here and there is really what's going to bring you to the end and get you to the win.
And it looks like Rivers is deciding to forego Westmount Hobbs. He's not going to have access to that rune ring that moonblazewolf has. It might not be the difference in anything, but it's a nice piece of equipment early to be missing.
Blaze picking the waterfall boss and seeing the wyvern there, he's manipulating his battle speed and his party configuration, so I wonder if he's going to try to take this boss right now.
Rivers dipping into the watery pass and finds a diamond ring. Not quite a rune ring, but also a very good one, so he made up for what he might have missed there. Unfortunately, Blaze not getting that star veil off in time.
Yeah, he tried it once. Now we see him reset his battle speed back up. So it looks like he is going to move on for now. I think that's wise. Try it once. See if you can get through it. Don't beat your head against it for, 3 or 4 minutes, because that is something that could potentially cost you the race if you get hung up on it for a long time.
And we see the boss of the Misty Cave is just Baigan. Since we've got 2 different boss hunts that we're looking for with these objectives between the Fabul Gauntlet and the Leviathan, checking those places makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, not something that Blaze wanted to find there, so it doesn't bother with defeating it, even though it would open up that Misty Cave, which is a little bit higher tier loot than most of the other ones that we've got available at this time.
Rivers peeked the character in the Kaipo bed. It looked like it was something that had a blue helmet or a blue hat. I didn't see exactly who it was. Someone in chat says it was a Cid. So that may be the Cid that they're looking for, or at least a Cid. Okay, chat confirming it was Cid. So Cid is required. So if they find a Sand Ruby, that could be their Cid. There could be another Cid out there, but that is a potential for one of their objectives. That's their objective number 4.
You said Cid a lot there, Maggie, and I like it.
Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
We see Blaze with the sneaky Chocobo forest treasure check. This T-Pro just makes it so that we're seeing so many treasure chests open that you never saw before, and I love it, seeing these Chocobo forests being entered just to check the one treasure chest.
Yeah, that's paid off in a couple of the earlier races. I can't remember exactly what people have found in there, but I know there's been some pretty spicy treasure in those lone Chocobo forest checks. So I think some of the runners have decided that it's been worth it to go, the few extra steps out of the way to get it.
And looky here, Rivers also making use of that white Chocobo in the might as well win in Rome, right?
Yeah, for sure. And with the way the shops are set up, the shop I can't remember the name of the flag, but the pro shops, I think is what it's called.
There you
go. Thank you. They start with tents, and I think that they can get tents, but cabins are not guaranteed. So they do have to be a little bit careful with their MP use in these flags as well.
That's correct. Once you get underground access, You got that free pot right outside of Dwarf Castle. Things could get a little bit easier, but without that, getting to that, getting heals is either long walks like up Damskin if you want to do it free, or an inn. Without cabins, it could be a bit rougher.
And we see our runners are almost in sync with each other in this Baron Inn fight. Took out CPU, not too much trouble. Here we see the Magus sisters. If they have a good J item that can hit the whole screen, a vampire that maybe doesn't bounce off a wall here could be very useful. Yeah, Rivers gets that off. That's good. Hopefully they'll be able to get through this without too much trouble.
This is a really interesting fight here. They're playing to get Kane, who's the character here. That's going to be a very good character, especially as we get towards the end game. Got a very good equipment pool to draw from, and really good stats overall. He just kind of outclassed. Sid is greater at the beginning, but he becomes outclassed by Kane pretty early on.
Ooh, and unfortunately, Blaze took a reset there, and looks like he is deciding to move on. Looks like he's gonna go do some more looting and maybe some shopping before he decides to take that fight on again.
This is a sneaky, difficult spot for the Mega Sisters at this low level. That it might not be the most powerful Delta attack that you'll see, but it's strong enough to one-shot most of your enemies. And the physical attacks by Cindy in the middle are no joke either.
Yeah, and I don't think either of them have anything that hit mage weaknesses. They haven't found mute arrows. They don't have anything like a rune axe for Sid. So Sid's doing okay damage, but not enough. It looks like not enough to get through that. And unfortunately, River's taking the wipe there as well.
So a couple of sneaky bosses kind of throwing some challenges at these runners early with that Wyvern in the waterfall spot, which is required, and now this Mega Sister spot in the Baron Inn. So we've got a couple other places. We see Mount Ordeals being climbed by Rivers, whereas Fabul is the location that Blaze is headed. And it's also worth noting the only key item that we've seen so far is the Adamant, which we got at the very beginning of the game, and that's not going to help towards any of our objectives either.
Yeah, it can be used if they find the Legend Sword. They can go take both of those to Kokol the blacksmith in the underground to forge an Excalibur, which will be great if they find a Cecil, or if they find an Edge, they can dart it, but that'll be reliant on finding one of those two characters. It can also be used to open up the shop that Kokol offers, which is a gate. It's a special gated shop that can hold special items. It can hold sirens, which are normally not available. It can hold some other very high tier items, but it's also kind of out of the way. You got to go forge that Excalibur, you got to sit through a cutscene, then you got to go check the shop. So it's kind of a toss up whether they would actually want to do that, and then they have to find the other item to do it as well.
And Blaze finding Dr. Luge in Fabul Castle, riversmccown finding the Baron Guards up at the top of Mount Ordeals. We don't really have the stuff to cheese either one of these bosses, and we see both of them, like we see a rare Belknap Z sighting here, and these guards are taking a bit longer take down than they normally would.
Yeah, both of these are not incredibly difficult fights. We just right now don't have a lot of really good items or spells. The party's still pretty low level to be dealing with this. I think both of them are going to get through these fights without too much trouble. It's just taking a little while to do so.
Sure, River's utilizing that stop spell as the debuff of choice. Blaze able to get past the real fight and has completed that Fabul defense.
Got just an ice brand for his trouble from the King of Fabul there. Not really what you're looking for. It's a decent weapon, but not even a really great high tier weapon, and we don't have anyone who can use it at this point.
It'll probably go right into Kane's hands once you can defeat the Maga Sisters, but we'll still be looking out for something better for Kane from one of these gated places. And more moon bosses on the blue planet as Pale Dim is in the vanilla Mylon Z spot.
This, at least, again, is not a very difficult boss. He can be pretty annoying because he will counter all of your physical attacks with slow, so that'll slow down the fight a little bit. But I don't think that they will have too much trouble getting through this fight, at least.
Right, we're not dependent on elemental spells like if you had like just level 2 Palom spells or something like that, since Pale Dim does absorb those.
Blaze is right on River's track coming up Mount Ordeals here. I think he might have a couple extra levels since he did the Fabul defense fight, but he's, I think, not going to have too much trouble getting through these fights right behind Rivers here.
Since Tella can't put out a lot of damage in this fight, using that blink to make sure Rosa stays alive and she can do as much damage as possible there, just a smart use of what you have available.
Oh, and our restreamer Valvalis is pointing out that Blaze picked up mute arrows, which will make the guards fight a little bit faster. That is very true. The guards are considered mage type, so they will take extra damage to those mute arrows. That's a very good point out there.
Blaze also leveled up enough so that Rosa learns the spell mute, so you don't have to worry about the counterattacks from these guards at all either. So that's also very nice. Or counter magic, I guess, not counterattacks.
Yeah, they like to counter with size and piggy, which, depending on who they land on, can be either not a problem at all or a very big problem.
Those mute arrows are also going to go to town on the Mega Sisters once moonblazewolf gets back there. And Rivers has taken out Pale Dim.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. Again, not a difficult fight, just kind of just a little bit of a long one. Oh, and we see a Toad casting over on Blaze's side to shrink that guard down even further in size.
Well, you didn't use size, you used Toad.
Yeah, but it still made it kind of small.
All right, we're about to see what the potential key item is here for Rivers. Ooh, that is a twin heart. Y'all want some music?
All of you who got subs today, get your freen harps out. We see them all already coming out in chat. That's a free boss in the temple here on top of Mount Ordeals as well. That's Bahamut.
Yeah, definitely not where you want to see Bahamut. You want to see Bahamut in a difficult spot so you can make use of the freeness of the boss to take care of a really difficult spot. This is already a mostly free spot, and it's kind of a waste to have that happen right there. Now, the question is, how soon is either one of these runners going to go up to the Cave Magnus, rather than some of the other places that we still have available, like Baron Inn?
Yeah, I imagine that now that they've got their Tella powered up, they might go back to Baron Inn first. Although I don't, Tella's probably, I don't know how useful Tella's going to be against Mega Sisters. Blaze has got the mute arrows, so those will help a lot against Mega Sisters. We'll see where Rivers decides to go next.
Right. With Rivers, since I know that one of his preferred strategies is to not go to Fabul, and I believe that's where Blaze found those mute arrows. Check and correct me if I'm wrong there. But if he goes there and finds them, then he'll be in good shape. But if he decides to try to avoid that if possible, then that might bite him in the end. But he is going to Fabul, so if that is where he found those arrows, then that'll end up being a good find for Rivers here.
Yeah, we'll see if he's just gonna check the shops here, or if he's actually gonna take the fight here as well. Oh yeah, confirming that, excuse me, that's where those mute arrows are, picking up a nice stack of those. And he is going up to the throne room, so it looks like he is going to take the key item check here as well.
Yeah, he's going to fight that Dr. Luge. Shouldn't be a problem for him right now, especially after completing Mount Ordeals. And then just going to get that Ice Brand. He's going to be a bit disappointed by that. But the real prize for going to Fabul, I believe, are going to be those mute arrows.
Yeah. Are those? I don't know, Rex. If you know for sure, are those the best arrows that they can buy? At least maybe in the overworld.
Well, I think best is a little bit kind of misleading. I think as far as raw attack power, the charm arrows might be better, but I believe the mute arrows hit more boss weaknesses. I usually look for mute arrows. That's all I know.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I had forgotten that charm arrows are stronger than mute arrows, but and charm arrows have their usefulness as well. They hit giants. And maybe something else I can't remember for sure, but mute arrows have they hit all those weaknesses like you said, so they are very useful and right behind charm arrows in terms of actual attack power, I think.
Right. So when you're talking about which one's the best, I generally rate mute arrows higher than charm arrows, even though charm arrows are technically like with the stronger attack power. Hitting more boss weaknesses is more important, I think, for free enterprise than raw attack power most of the time.
So now we see that both of our runners have caught up with each other. Blaze finishing up the Mount Ordeals checks, getting the Twin Harp, and Rivers finishing up Fabul. Got the Ice Brand that we knew was from the King of Fabul, and now we'll see where they decide to go from here.
I imagine, especially since they're both armed with mute arrows, going back and trying those Maga Sisters again is going to be high on the priority list for the runners here. And we see Rivers is heading back there right now. Going to do some shopping first. I imagine Blaze is going to be right there, but you know, stranger things have happened.
Oh yeah, it looks like Blaze is going straight to Baron. I think they probably both want their cane. They do have a pretty decent weapon for him. He's going to bring some very nice attack power and versatility to this party, being able to use that Ice Brand and some of the other equipment that they might have laying around. So this is, I think, probably a very heads-up play for them. I do hope that one of them decides to go check that harp, though.
Do get a question in the chat from Fox Aurora asking, how do you decide how many arrows to buy early in a seed? I think that's something that's actually an interesting question. We saw Rivers buy 30 there. I think 20 to 30 is generally all that you're going to need. If you've got more than one character that's going to be an archer, you might want to buy a couple packs of 20. But especially once you get to the point where you can berserk, there's kind of a little weird, glitchy thing where if your character is berserked, they won't use that last arrow, so you can usually get by with a lot of that if you're relying on berserked archers.
I think there was also a little bit of clarification in chat regarding the second objective. The Fabul Gauntlet is actually a boss that they're going to be looking for. So the fight that they took at Fabul Castle was a different objective that's not listed here. So the Fabul Gauntlet is actually a boss that they're looking for, and we'll know it when we see it because chat's going to go crazy for it.
And I'm going to go crazy for it too.
Yes, I think it's is it your favorite objective or one of your favorite objectives, Rex?
It's my favorite objective. It's my favorite addition to version 4 for Free Enterprise. So I'm very happy about it. But I think Rivers is happy about something else. Finding that darkness crystal, that's going to be a big thing. And Blaze is going to be probably pretty close behind it. Looks like he might be having a rough time this time around, going with the reset. Hopefully, if he tries it again, he'll be better situated. But that darkness crystal opens up the moon, and it opens up the we can see a D-Machine grind at any point now.
Yeah, that is huge. And does that also confirm that the access to the underground is gated by the harp?
I don't think we can definitively say that because we have not checked the boss in the Tower of Zot that's available, which could be the Mist Dragon.
Yes.
Gating it. So I don't think we can definitively say that, but it's definitely looking like it may.
Okay. So it's either D-Mist at... I guess D-Mist could also be at Cave Magnus. So it's either D-Mist at
That's
Cave
true.
Magnus or Mega's Sisters, or it's just at the key item at Cave Magnus has some progression.
That's correct. Because we've seen all the other bosses on the blue planet.
Yes, and either way, Rivers is going to raise up that big whale and go probably up to the moon and at least check the character. I don't know that he's going to do anything else. Maybe check the shop up there, but probably at least going to want to pick up the character up there and see who's awaiting him on the lunar dais.
And I don't know if we've found any sorts of if we've seen succubi or ethers for sale so that you can get more MP in the mid fight with Tella. At any point now, Rivers can go, if he's happy with the party, and level up with the D machine grind.
There were ethers, I believe, in Baron, and I believe that Rivers picked several up before he finished the Baron in checks.
Okay, well then it could happen. It could happen right now. Might do it. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, depends. I think it maybe depends on the character. If he finds a good character who he would be happy with up here on the moon, I would be a little surprised if he does a D machine grind with only 4 characters. If he finds a dupe up here. But if he finds another character up here, 5th character to fill out his party, then I could see him doing a D machine grind right away, yeah.
You know, I might be inclined to agree with you. However, when 2 of your characters are Rosa and Kane, I don't think you need a whole lot else in order to complete the seed.
I mean, that's a good point. You do have 2 of the strongest characters right there for you. If you find a good weapon for Kane, that's really all you need. If you could find... an Avenger would be excellent, but even if you find a good spear for him.
And it's just a dupe Tella. That's not what you want to see there. And we're going to see what decision Rivers makes now. He's not going right away to the Giant, so it looks like that's not going to be the route that Rivers takes here. It looks like he's going to head to Cave Magnus, and it looks like Blaze is heading over there too. After running into that brick wall that has been the Maga Sisters for him.
Yeah, it looks like he took another nasty wipe to that Baron Inn spot. That's very unfortunate. He is going to go do, looks like a little bit more shopping first, and then he's in Troya, so that probably indicates that he's going to go do this harp check as well, which is where Rivers is heading to right now.
Yeah, and this trouble that Blaze has been having against the Maga Sisters, depending on how long it takes to find some of these objectives, like boss hunts can take a long time in order to complete, but if they're found relatively quickly, that can really spell disaster. Hopefully for Blaze's sake, though, he'll be able to complete this Cave Magnus check and then head back over to Baron and complete that without too much problem. Hopefully he doesn't delay it too long if that darkness crystal is super important. It also already could be super important as far as grinding goes, though.
Yeah, very, very true. If this does lead to underground access, and maybe there will be something in the underground that will help him, he might be able to get something that gives him another character, or maybe even just an item that he can use to help him get through, like a good weapon for Sid that can help him get through that a little bit easier.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't take him too long to go back there if this is underground act. And now this is a little bit of a higher level boss here, and you see Rivers prepping with a lot of equipping and item usage before going here.
Yeah, I think one of the things he was trying to set up was to put metal gear on as many of his characters as he could, so that he could try to get this cutscene skip. Unfortunately, I don't think he had anything to put on Tella, so he was trying to maybe get a spell off with Tella to get him KO'd before the cutscene here, but not quite fast enough.
Well, it looks like we're going to get a double dose of music here. We're going to be quiet for a little bit because it's just about time for us to hear DJ Spoony B's Rockin' Tunes. And as we're enjoying this lovely sanctuary music, we see, I think, the final moon boss on the blue planet.
I think you are correct. We've even seen, we didn't mention it when we were on our deals, but Bahamut, if you consider him a moon boss, has been already cited as well. So this is all of the lunar bosses accounted for.
Yeah, so beware the great antlion invasion of the moon. Yes. The blue planet bosses have to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's not going to be a fun find either because Antlion hits real hard. So in some of those higher tier locations can be kind of a mean fight.
This is a sneaky tough boss too. This is a place that normally has a very, very high magic defense, and this is a boss that you don't want to use physical attacks on because they'll counter and go into their virus script. We see a couple star bales being thrown up and smartly KOing the other characters so that only those two characters can be targeted with the breath attacks. And yep, and we are seeing, well, just one lunar frog this time. But that's better than 2D lunars.
Yeah, for sure. I think that if he now targets the frog, it will enable the virus counter script, but they won't be able to put their wall up on themselves. So the one that has not been frogged will cast a virus on itself or on the frog, but that won't have the wall up on itself. So they'll basically just be casting virus on itself repeatedly.
Meanwhile, Blaze makes use of Fire 3, and that weakness still doing a fair amount of damage, despite the fact that it's a very high magic defense spot.
Yeah, and we see on River's side that virus counter is hitting the frog, but only for 1 damage. That's due to the fact that this is the spot that has the highest magic defense in the game. So normally spells are not going to do any amount of damage to this spot.
Blaze able to get the Lunar Frog strat up on the second one, so we do have basically some safety for Blaze for the rest of this fight now. Whereas Rivers still has to deal with one of these evil moon zombie dragons.
Blaze got through that very nicely. Maybe going to make up some time here by kind of leapfrogging this fight. Hey, Baka Shinobi is our tracker tonight. I guess maybe he's rubbing off a little bit.
Maybe. But we got that magma key, so that's going to be a big deal. Now, the question is, with that darkness crystal at Baron Inn, how long is it going to be before Blaze goes back there? That's going to be a big deal, I think, in the overall scheme of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see. I'm going to imagine that Blaze is probably going to take that magma key and go straight underground. So yeah, how long is he going to fade that darkness crystal? And is that going to how important is that darkness crystal going to be in the end?
It might not be important at all if we find we still have all 5 objectives, so the odds of it all being available in the underground is a bit low, but there's a possibility.
Yeah, it is possible. We're about to see, because Blaze is going straight to Agard and throwing that magma key in the well, and I think he's going to make a play immediately for the underground here.
Especially if the character in Dwarf Castle ends up being Duke Kane, then Blaze could fade that for a long time. But we still have a lot of things to find.
Yeah, we're over a half an hour in and have not gotten any of our objectives completed yet. We know, of course, where and what is at the waterfall. I think that they're just kind of holding off on that because that is Wyvern, and they don't want to deal with Wyvern right now. Don't blame them for that. But everything else is still on the table, and we have not seen any of it. Well, we know where Sid is as well, but we haven't seen the Sand Ruby.
Right. That Sand Ruby is going to be something that they're going to hope to find. Well, I say sooner rather than later, but really anytime. They'll just have to go back to Kaipo and pick them up and get that objective completed. That might be the last one. If they find the pass, that might be the last one that they save until the very end to complete it. Oh, and thanks. We've got a job dwarf chat, a lathe operator on Blazer's screen there.
Very nice. The seed has been validated. Thank you, moonblazewolf, for being the runner of the people, doing that music check, doing the job dwarf check, the things that everybody wants to see.
It might have taken him a little bit more time than Blaze, but Rivers has completed that boss, got his magma key, and looks like he is zipping over to Agard as well.
I think Blaze picked up a poison axe, which isn't great, but I think it is an upgrade from Sid's wooden hammer, which I don't know that he had picked up a better weapon for Sid, so he does have something a little bit better for Sid to put in Sid's hands at this point.
If you're keeping him in the middle row and he gets that bump to his accuracy, then the poison axe can be okay, but I'd still rather hope to find something better. An ogre axe would be kind of ideal, or a really like a samurai bow or something like that if you've got an extra one.
And from the free chest in Feymarch, we see just a protect ring. It's a really nice piece of gear. Going to be great on Rosa or even Tella if you want to keep them alive. But not a key item. That's not progression at all.
But we do find those cabins for sale in the Feymarch item shop, so they're not guaranteed to be in the seed, but they are in this one, and that's going to be a bit of a relief, especially if you end up having to dive down into the lunar subterranean and fight many bosses. Having cabins can be really helpful for that.
I think Blaze just picked up a cursed ring as well, which I don't think he had found the one in Baron that Rivers had found immediately, so that's a very nice pickup for Blaze as well.
If money was no object, he probably would have been happy. There was both a dwarf axe and an ogre axe in the weapon shop in the Feymarch. Those are some nice things, but they are very pricey, especially with the items sell for a quarter. We see a blue robe at the Leviathan spot. That's a possible sighting of the Fabul Gauntlet. Could be the Water Hag.
Yeah,
it could be what we need.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like Blaze is going to go save it. He's probably going to at least peek it here and see if that is the objective that we have been looking for.
It looks like he's actually equipping up to maybe even give it a shot. For people who might not know, the Alt Gauntlet is going to be 5 battles, all taken from possible random encounters from where it is. So this would be pulling from random encounters in the Feymarch, which is a pretty late game dungeon. So that's not going to be a super easy fight.
That Valvalis next to that blue robe is not going to be nice at all either.
And it is the Water Hag, and that was a quick reset. Not going to try to take the time to do that, and we exit out.
Meanwhile, on Rivers' side, as soon as Rivers came underground, he immediately went to Dwarf Castle and took a peek at the fight behind the Dwarven throne room and found a dancing Yang behind the king's throne there. Reset out of it is now down in the Fey March with Blaze, or where Blaze just was. Did a little bit more looting than Blaze did. He found the trapped chest immediately, and so reset out of that. But out of the rest of the chests, he did find a Dragoon helm and a Blizzard spear, among other things. So some pretty nice gear for Kane coming down into the Fey March here.
Question in the chat, why not Dew-Water Hag? The issue is that Leviathan spot has a very high physical attack, and it's a good chance that each one of its hits will one-shot one of the 3 characters, and it'll get 3 attacks off before you can hit him 3 times. So it's probably going to KO the entire party before you're able to defeat it. So even though it's technically, we kind of consider the Water Hag a free boss, in that spot with this at these levels with only 3 characters, I wouldn't classify it free at all.
Oh, Blaze getting stymied by the true boss of Free Enterprise, which is the NPCs who get in your way when you're just trying to get to the stairs.
So many true bosses in Free Enterprise. We have NPCs, we've got inventory management, we've got the real fight, Dr. Lugay's second form.
For sure.
You see a bit more of an extended looting of Dwarf Castle over on Blaze's side, maybe trying to pick up money for the next time he goes back to the Fey March and can buy those axes.
Yeah, we don't see this too often. This being underground and a little bit out of the way, this is the loot up here can be a little bit better. And with Tella, he can do what we see him doing right now, which is exit right out of here. So not a bad play to pick up a few extra chests here if he's feeling that his gear or his money situation is a little bit behind.
Especially when you don't have something like the Earth Crystal, which gives you access to the huge Boon treasure room on the bottom of Troya. And if you get that underground access like the Magma Key relatively early, you might be a little short on funds. You've got a way to cast exit. It's kind of a nice way to get just a little bit of extra money. You're probably not going to find a ton of really good gear there, but being able to sell more of it to buy the things that you want to do, because shopping has been very important throughout these bracket rounds.
Rivers is going back to Dwarven Castle. Looks like he's maybe going to take this Karate Man fight, whereas it looks like Blaze went and talked to Sheila and got a vanilla pan.
That's right. So this is going to be the dreaded Fabul triple dip, as Blaze had gone there earlier, goes here second for Sheila 1, and now gets the pan, and we'll have to go back for Sheila 3. And that Karate Man's hitting pretty hard.
Yeah, Rivers throwing out a Silk Web to slow him down a little bit. Wow, even his kick is doing like 150, 200 damage. That's it's a little rough.
Yeah, this is a tough fight. If we had Paladin Cecil, then it would be pretty easy to kind of cheese this boss. But again, we're a bit under-leveled for where this boss would normally be. So Rivers is going to have to be smart to get through this. Using that Berserk on Sid is a smart way to go about this. You can do the most damage the fastest way possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure what weapon he has on Sid. Is that an Ogre Axe that he picked up?
I believe he bought the Ogre Axe in the Fey March when he saw it.
Got it. Yeah, that's doing some good work there. Ooh, and from the Sylphs, we do find that Earth Crystal that you were just talking about a few moments ago.
If you need equipment or you need money, that Earth Crystal is going to come in very handy. And the question is, we don't know how soon Rivers is going to go back for the, after, even if he gets the pan, how long it's going to be before he goes back there. I imagine as soon as you get the pan, you can want to do there. But Rivers is going to get a double dip of his own as he finds the Mist Dragon hiding as the second boss in the Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, so here's our bonus round. And we also found a bard, it looks like. There's Edward joining the party as the character from the Dwarf Castle. So now he has 5 characters if he does want to go do a D-Machine grind.
He might hope for a better character than Edward to be the 5th one, but the one thing that he is doing is he's trying to keep Kane at that base level. It looks like he's going to try to plan for a slingshot with him.
Yeah, I noted that Kane is still at level 10. Edward starts, I think, even at the lower levels, level 5. So if he wants to get Edward up to be able to slingshot Kane, he might have to do a little bit of leveling with Edward. But he'll be able to do that slingshot now that he's got the 5 characters in his party.
Question from chat. Captain Carlisle asking, what is D-Machine? D-Machine is a method of grinding your characters. There's an enemy in the Giant of Babel, which if you hit it, will summon a monster called a D-Machine, which you can cast weak on and then one-shot it. And then you can do that over and over again in the same fight to just gain tons of levels in one fight. You need to have access to somebody who has weak, but we do that with Tella, and so if you that's what the D-Machine grind is, basically.
River's almost getting stopped by the same NPC that stopped Blaze a few moments ago. We saw that he picked up the Baron key from from Luca, rather, in the Dwarf Castle check here. And from Sheila 2, by returning the pan, Blaze has picked up the rat tail. Now we needed the hook in order to turn that rat tail in, but Blaze has gone over to Troya and is looting the treasury, gotten a couple really nice items already, so he's probably going to be doing Tower of Zot next, and we'll see if we get a hook or anything else from the top of the tower there.
Also, possibility to see a duplicate sit up there and have to not worry about finding that sand ruby if he is there. If he is in fact there. Also, there's 2 bosses up there. We still have 2 bosses at large, so this is not a bad check. The Zot is oftentimes one of the checks that people don't want to make because it's kind of annoying. But in this case, I think it makes a lot of sense to go here right now.
Rivers goes and talks to Rydia's mother. On this particular flag set, for those who may not know, after defeating D-Mist, you can go to Mist Village and talk to Rydia's mother to get a key item, which is what Rivers just did, and he got the pass. So he now has both access methods to the moon, that is the pass and the darkness crystal. So if Blaze decides to fade the darkness crystal, which was in Baron Inn, and does get that pass, and we get everything else that we need to get the crystal here on the blue planet, he may not even need that darkness crystal.
The only thing that I think would be missing then is a really good way to grind.
Yeah, very true. The darkness crystal is required to do the D-Machine grind, and also to take a lot of the other grinds that are popular on the moon, like even just opening trapped chests or doing lunar boss grinds on the moon. So unless there are sirens available in the Kokol shop and they find the legend sword somewhere along the way, Blaze would have a hard time getting up to appropriate levels.
And River's strategy of going here to Baron is very similar to what I said about there's going to be a couple of bosses. There's going to be a character check. Both of these runners are going to be hoping to find at least one of these bosses that they're hunting. And either one would be very, very happy to see Sid at the end of this.
Yeah, definitely. Blaze is probably pretty happy to see these dolls. This is a pretty free fight in the Mega Sister spot here.
I think if that firebomb doesn't do enough, hopefully Tella can clear up the rest of the 3 with their magic. He has a Stardust. The Stardust Rod, of course, was found in the Troya Treasury. You can use that for good AoE damage. Very heads-up play by Blaze there.
Very, very nice. Yeah, that was a great play by Blaze. Very nicely done getting through that fight. Rivers finds Antlion, so there goes our hopes of Antlion on the moon. No rude Antlion on the moon or in the Fey March. I guess we knew it wasn't in the Fey March though.
We see yet another duplicate Tella up at the top of the tower Zot. Now Moonblazewolf has seen where the D-Mist is, so we'll know to go to Dwarf Castle for a double dip there. And looks like that is Cecil. Ooh,
My
powerful
goodness.
character. It's not a Cid, but that's going to be huge for Blaze, who doesn't have Kane.
Yeah, for sure. This could be the extra power boost that Blaze needs for his party since he did not pick up that Kane. He's immediately back row glitching. Oh, does he have a bow? Hopefully he has a bow. Well, he can probably take the bow off of... I'm sure Rosa has a bow on. Meanwhile, look what we found sitting on the Baron Throne.
Oh my goodness. We have an alternative gauntlet here.
Rex, this is your forte. Would you like to talk more about what is going on here? Or I guess you already did a little bit earlier.
I did a little bit earlier. So these are going to be all pulled from the Baron sewers. And this is not going to be too tough, I think, for Rivers. His levels are very appropriate, probably a little high for this. I don't think he's going to need anyone other than Rosa and Cid to complete this, especially with Cid's back row glitch. Just a bunch of fights in a row. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have all these monsters crammed on the Baron Throne Room together, hiding under the King's robe. Meanwhile, over on Blaze's side, we have everybody's favorite leg. This is Rubicant. So everybody get your leg puns out in chat.
And even at level 1, that Ice Brand, Blaze is making great use of that, hitting that weakness on Rubicant, and almost 2,000 damage from a level 1 Cecil.
Oh my goodness, yes. And Blaze absolutely tearing through that Rubicant with that level 1 Cecil. What a find up on the Tower of Zot for Blaze to get through that fight that was waiting for him there.
Question in the chat, what is back row glitch? So basically, if you're using something like a bow and arrow, one of the advantages of it is you can attack from the back row and do the same damage as you would from the front row. There's a couple other weapons like harps and stuff like that do it too. The game doesn't really remember that you don't have it once you unequip it. So if you're in your menu, you can equip a bow and arrow, then unequip it, and you still get that advantage of the bow being able to attack from the back row. So right now, Cid's attacking with that axe from the back row and doing just as much damage as he would from the front row. Plus, you get the added extra defense that you get from being in the back row. So it's a very nice thing to have.
And suddenly, on River's side, we have 2 objectives that have been lit up. He found that Fabul Gauntlet, and he found his Cid that he has been looking for. So that is objective number 2 and objective number 4 that has now been completed by Rivers at 54 minutes into this seed.
Oh, that's pretty good. And with Blaze knowing where D-Mist is now, I think it's not going to be too long where we see him head over to Dwarf Castle and should be able to find a lot of things here. But now, first of all, he's got to give the Magus Sisters a little bit of revenge.
Wow, that's triple objective for Rivers. He just found the tower key, which is needed to complete objective number 3, destroy the super cannon.
That's huge. This Baron Castle is stacked today.
My goodness, can we find a Leviathan down in the Odin throne?
You know, I'm kind of hoping for it now.
I know, right?
Because it would be so crazy.
Here's the moment of truth. Drum roll.
Oh, no, it's just a Mylon.
Well, I mean, Baron is still hugely valuable. How often do we see even a double objective, let alone triple objective, all in one play?
Yeah, that is not common, but that was really cool to see. Meanwhile, moonblazewolf, in much better situation this time, was able to use Fire 3 to take out Mindy, which means the Delta attack's not going to happen. And then Cindy's down, and now just Sandy. Moonblazewolf finally beating those Mega Sisters, which gave him so much trouble earlier this seed.
Yeah, and Rosa doesn't have a bow on, but she was doing pretty decent damage too. I wonder if maybe she had a silence staff on, which does still hit the mage weaknesses against the Mega Sisters.
If I recall correctly, he actually has his Rosa equipped with a heroine robe and a power staff.
Oh, very, very nice. That's a nice setup for a melee Rosa.
Yeah, so that power staff is sometimes an underrated thing. It's a really good thwacker. We see Kane Azo in the super cannon room. I wonder if Rivers is just going to go for the half tower here.
We have not seen the boss up at the top of the tower, and we know that this is required. The only other thing that he needs is Leviathan, so he still needs a boss. So that Leviathan could be at the top of the tower. I guess. I think he's exhausted almost all of his bosses on the blue planet. Is there anywhere else that he could go to check for bosses? I guess he hasn't gotten the Earth Crystal yet.
Right. So if he goes through the Sheila route, he'd be able to go through the Zot chain. He could also look for key items by fighting the bosses in the Fame Arch, but he still might be a little low level for that.
And after getting the Cane and the Darkness Crystal, Moonblaze has decided to take on the Dwarf Castle, where he knows that D-Mist is hiding.
Well, he's getting some information over on River's side. We've got the Kaipo Guard fight up at the top of the Zot, and we see the boss in the Rubicante spot is going to be King Queen Eblin.
Still no sighting of a hook, so we still don't have access to the upper Babel spots. But there is that one boss before the Rubicante spot in the Vanilla King Queen Eblin spot that Leviathan could be hiding as well.
And that could be a sneaky one to find, though with the Rat Tail, there's a double incentive for finding that hook as well.
Blaze getting through that karate fight very easily, since he does have a Paladin Cecil in his party, is able to kind of get the easy mode through that fight. If you wait until Young kicks twice and then hit him with Cecil, he'll say ouch and then go away.
Yeah, this is interesting. Blaze, it seemed like he was a bit behind throughout a lot of it, but he's able to make up a lot of time with a couple of these key bosses, like that Yang fight, like the D Lunars fight. Those things are what you need to do in order to come back against, the trouble that he had against the Maga Sisters early, and he's going in the right direction now.
I'm really impressed with his Rosa hitting for over 1,000 damage with a staff. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, that's why she's the heroine with that robe.
No kidding. Rivers finding a Luca key on top of the Tower of Babel. That's a bit of a long check. You have to walk through kind of a long dungeon. Fortunately, you can reset out if there's nothing at the end of it. Of course, in this case, he will have to check the boss, since that's what he's looking for. And if that boss is Leviathan, then of course he's gonna have to take that and then walk it out.
Lucky for Rivers, I don't believe there's any progression items other than maybe the hook that could be in that sealed cave.
The only thing is if it is package, he's probably going to have to keep it, because Leviathan could be behind package.
That's a good point. That package with the boss hunts out there, you always have to remember that the package does lead to a boss. That would be an annoying place for that Leviathan to be, at package behind sealed cave.
Oh my goodness, that would be very annoying, especially for someone who thought, "Oh, what are the chances I'm going to leave this behind in sealed cave?" And then they fade it, and then that's where it is. That would be pretty awful. So you kind of got to walk it out. Okay, so it looks like Rivers is going to go check that Luca key right away, whereas Blaze has kind of caught up with where Rivers was. Finished the Dwarf Castle, picked up the pass from Rydia's mother and the Baron key, and is going to go follow up on that Baron key right away, it looks like. So he will be getting the triple check here pretty soon.
Yeah, and then it's going to be who goes to the right place first. Is it going to be the moon? Is it going to be the sealed cave? Who knows at this point?
Picking up a bow there in the armor or weapon shop, rather, behind the Baron Key Armory. That's going to be really nice to have on hand. And also, I don't know that he actually got a chance to actually back row glitch his Cecil, because I don't know that he had a bow when Cecil first joined. So, just a very nice utility item to have in his equipment stash.
I believe that's the case. I believe he sold. Yeah, it might have been an accident, but I believe he sold his bow after looting the Troya treasury and equipping Rosa with that power staff situation that she's got in right now.
All right, so River's coming up on the crystal room here in the back of Luca Cave, or Seal Cave rather. Let's see what this holds.
It is the hook. Now that's, especially since there's a boss check there, that's probably one that he's going to have to keep.
Yeah, now Rivers does not have the rat tail. That was behind Sheila too, which we know he needs to go to the Sylph Cave once to get the pan, and then go back to get the rat tail. So we'll see if that's what he decides to do next, or if he's going to maybe go up to the moon and just face check bosses.
And we see the Pain Man himself, Dark Knight Cecil. Looks like the healing is going to be enough. He's going to have characters survive. This is not going to be too bad for Rivers. He's going to be able to take it. So we'll see if he decides to go and check that boss in the... Because this is one of those things where he started a long check. Do you commit to it because you've already committed as much time to it? Do you commit to following through and checking that one boss that he doesn't know in the King Queen Evelyn spot, which is a long walk to get to? Or instead, do you go to the moon? Do you do your Sheila checks right now, even though you don't have the pan? Do you want to go there? Because you don't know that it has to be a triple dip in order to get that rat tail. This is going to be an interesting choice for Rivers at this point.
Yeah, I wonder if he feels behind at all. I would think maybe if he feels behind, he would take the more gamble play, maybe, of going and checking the bosses or the boss in Upper Babel. But I don't, he just got those 3 objectives, so I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see where he goes.
Now Blaze is finding out that he's got an objective here. He's got the alt gauntlet, and he's even more powerful, I think, than Rivers was when he did it, so this should be absolutely no problem.
Yeah, getting some good news here. Going to be getting even more good news pretty shortly. Looks like Rivers is actually going to go back and clean up objective number 1, which both of the runners have known about for the last hour and have just kind of been putting off. Shouldn't have any problem with this at this level and with this party, I don't think.
Got the Star Veil up. This place has kind of sneaky high agility, but able to get that Mega Nuke reflected, and now and just Sid has enough HP to tank it. Wyvern should go down pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, it didn't actually do a whole lot of damage. That Mega Nuke reflected off, well, and on Sid, doing a little over 1,100 damage there, it looked like. So it didn't actually kill Wyvern in the one hit, so needed a couple extra shots from both Sid and Rosa, but got that objective one taken care of, and looping this in with picking up his hovercraft. That's a heads up play.
Right, and that kind of makes me think that he's headed to Eblin. Going to do probably the character check, the shop check, and I think if you're committing, you might as well go and check that King Queen Eblin spot, because if that's Leviathan, Rivers all he needs to do is grind, and he's ready to go.
And comments in chat commenting on how Rivers is so far ahead of Blaze. I don't actually think that Rivers is that far ahead of Blaze. Blaze is doing objective number 2 right now, and we know that objectives number 3 and 4 are right behind this check. And Blaze knows what he needs to do objective number 1. So the objectives counter is a little bit deceiving in this case.
Yeah, getting that tower key, he knows that that's another objective that'll be done quickly. So, in a good, not in a horrible spot, especially if this, or excuse me, sorry, I just forgot how to talk for a moment there. Especially if this Eblin play doesn't pan out for Rivers, if Blaze can avoid it, then he could make up a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Rivers has found our last character. That is Yang in the Eblin Cave spot. And sees again the King Queen Eblin is in the Rubicon spot. So is going to go on, I'm assuming here, and check the vanilla King Queen Eblin spot, looking for his last objective to find Leviathan here.
And Rivers ditching Eddie to get the best character in the game, Yang. And
that's your favorite character, right, Rex?
Absolutely, nobody better. But making a save so that if this doesn't end up being Leviathan, can just reset and be back in Cave Eblin and doesn't have to walk out of upper battle. And so that's just a very that's just the sort of things that you got to be aware of to save time. Captain Carlisle in the chat, why is Yang the best? It's kind of a little joke. I've frequently said that I don't like Yang.
Yang can be very good at high levels. We like to call him the punch mage because he scales like the mages, insofar that he really relies on his stats for his growth and his levels, or in his the way that he scales. Whereas some of the other physical characters like Sid and Kane and Cecil that we've seen, if you put a good piece of equipment in their hands, they can be good even at low levels. Yang, you really need his strength and his stats to be high in order for him to be good, and you can't get that unless you level him like you do for the mages. So he doesn't really start to get good until later in the game.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like we might have some technical issues over on Rivers' side. Hopefully, we'll get him back soon.
Yeah, Rivers has been having some technical difficulties during these races. All of the runners do local capture for all of the races. That is a requirement for the tournament. And so he is still streaming or still racing, and he is still capturing, and we'll try to get him back online as quickly as possible here.
Blaze now in the Kainazo fight for the Super Cannon objective. And so by completing that, now is going to be able to get that objective completed once he leaves the Tower of Babel here. I imagine he's going to, like Rivers, head up to the top of the tower because he does have that at-large boss hunt to find.
Yes, and gonna get his hook, and we'll see if he decides to follow Rivers into Cave Eblin or not. or which one of our runners is going to be the first one to go up to the moon and start checking bosses up there?
Since we're not going to be sure how if this King Queen Evelyn check paid off for Rivers, if like I'm kind of hoping that Blaze doesn't go down to Luca and just goes to the moon instead, but I'm guessing he's going to go Luca. Like for Blaze's sake, I hope he goes to the moon, because I think that's going to be the best way for him to make up the most time. Because then, if he goes to the moon right away, and Rivers didn't find Leviathan and Queen Evelyn, then that's just a lot of time that Blaze can make up. However, of course, these runners don't know where each other is at, so like Blaze might think it's the riskier gamble. The if he feels behind, the better play would be to go to the sealed cave, which is just going to lead him down the exact same rabbit hole that we just saw Rivers go down. Though he will have the rat tail.
That's very true. And if the rat tail has the package and that Leviathan is behind the package, that's a really long shot. But we've seen wilder things happen in these races. I think statistically the moon is the better play because it has a lot more boss checks. But again, like these runners, they're one and one at this point. They're thinking that they got to make the big plays, the gambles, the risky moves here.
Right. I think they might be thinking that they need to gamble in order to win, and so that might be. But then again, if Blaze just goes to the moon, like you said, there's so many bosses up there, and all you need to find is the right boss. So, of course, we're not seeing what Rivers is doing right now, but I'd say it's still anyone's race at this point.
I think this is even more nerve-wracking without Rivers because we have no idea what's going on his stream.
Ain't that the truth, Maggie? So here comes Blaze now leaving out. He's going to get that silent staff, which was the reward for defeating the super cannon. I mean, the bigger reward is objective 3, but I mean the silent staff, because there's probably going to be a point where you transition Rosa from thwacking things with her power staff to being a dedicated white mage, and that silent staff, the second best staff in the game for that purpose.
Oh yeah, so I mean, considering that it was behind a requirement for an objective, not a bad pickup. Only other thing that would have been better for Rosa would have been the life staff. So all things considered, not a bad pickup for this team. And you already have a white robe that you can put on her as well to further increase her usefulness as an actual white mage.
And here is the check that I was afraid that he was going to make. It looks like he's going down that same route that Rivers did.
This is very similar to what happened in their last race, I believe, where Blaze was basically like a step or even half a step behind Rivers until the very end, where there was a slight divergence and Rivers just made the correct call and Blaze did not. So very nerve-wracking now to see what's going on one racer's side and not the others. Oh, but there's Rivers coming back right now.
Well, and he is out of Evelyn, but we did not see that boss, so we don't know exactly what's happening. Looks like he's going to the giant, so we've got at least a grind incoming. We might see a check of the bosses here if he's still hunting for Leviathan.
Yeah, there are two bosses here, so he could still be looking for that Leviathan if he wants to check the bosses in here. He could want to do his grind and then check the bosses before deciding to complete the boss hunt on the moon.
Okay, and it looks like our restreamer in the chat, Valveless, is saying that there might be an additional delay here for Rivers. So um, we'll keep. We're gonna kind of. The only way that we can really call this is to call it as though it's live. So we're gonna do our best, but we'll keep that in mind when it comes to the end of the race.
Yeah, I just know that in the previous races, when something similar like this happened and Rivers went out, it just meant that at the very end, when the times were posted, the times were much closer than what they actually appeared.
It looks like Rivers is going straight for the bosses, not starting with the grind. Wants to know what he's got available to him, and that was Leviathan.
Oh my goodness! So now we know. Rivers now knows. He's in no mode at the very least. Reset out of it right away, so he's probably going to do a grind here and then grind and go.
So this is one of these interesting situations where the moon is not required, but the darkness crystal is.
Yeah, you don't see that very often, where moon is haunted, but the requirement is in the Giant of Babel. So, yeah, very, very exciting play here. Very heads up play for Rivers to peek that boss first before doing his grind, just so that he has the knowledge of it.
And right now, what you're seeing Rivers doing is setting up that D-Machine grind that we spoke about earlier in the seed. He's looking for a specific encounter. It's going to look like a Searcher and two Beamers, but he's got to get the right one, and he's using a step chart in order to find out, to make sure that it's the right one that he's in.
Yeah, like the one that he just got probably had. What would happen is he has to defeat the two Beamers, and then when he hits the Searcher, if he's in the correct fight, it will summon the D-Machine. If he's not in the correct fight, it will summon a Horseman instead, like the Horseman that's on his screen right now. So he doesn't want that. That's not, the Horseman does not give as much XP. It's a more difficult fight. So that fight that he just ran from is probably going to result in a Horseman summon if he were to take it. So he's running from those until he finds the fight that he wants, and using the step chart that'll tell him when he finds the right fight, which it looks like he's probably found it since he's not running from it.
And the key to survivability in this fight is if you do everything correctly, all of the attacks that your party is going to hit are going to be percentage based. So it doesn't really matter if you're at low HP or high HP, you'll be able to take care of it. And all of the damage that you need to do after that weak hits an enemy, it's going to drop them down to single digits. So as long as you can do 10 damage with your attack, you're going to be able to defeat the enemy in one hit.
Meanwhile, we see Blaze has defeated his first objective, or completed his first objective, which is to defeat that wyvern in the waterfall, and now is summoning his big whale. So we'll see where he goes. I really hope he goes to Giant first.
I think Giant is a little bit of a more tempting choice because of that grind that's available right there.
Yeah, for sure. And since they have not found any other way to grind, if they had found Edge, they could steal Sirens. If they had found a Legend Sword, they could go forge the X-Cal, which would be great for the Cecil that Blaze has. And then they could also see if Sirens were in the shop, in the Blacksmith Armory. They haven't gotten any of that. So this is really one of the best and only reliable ways to grind.
But it looks like Blaze is heading to the moon, which we know is not going to be the right decision. Now, this is his first time at the moon, so If he decides to check the characters, he's going to see that dupe tella. I don't think he really cares. I think he's happy with his party right now. He's going to go check that cave Bahamut. He's not going to see a Leviathan sitting out there.
Yeah, now if he's just face checking for bosses, it won't take him too long to get through the moon if he doesn't take many or any of the fights. He could also be looking for easy fights, like what's still left that we haven't seen? Have we not seen D-Imps, Dark Imps, maybe? Trying to think of what else would be free. If it's free, he might try to get some XP while he's up here, but even that, while he's doing all that, Rivers is getting his levels and then going to be getting his 5th objective taken care of.
Another thing to consider while doing this, if you're counting, like, if you're being really precise at the amount of experience you have and the amount of experience you're going to get, that Leviathan is going to be worth a hefty chunk of experience as well. So you might not need to defeat as many of these D machines as you might otherwise need to, just because you're going to get some extra experience off of that Leviathan fight, which is required before you go to Zeromus.
Yeah, that's true. You do have to get through the Leviathan fight, of course, so you need enough levels to beat Leviathan. But do you happen to know what's the magic power like in this spot that's coming up? Because all he's going to do besides Big Wave is cast Ice 2 on you.
I'm not sure exactly how strong it's going to be. If Rivers has Star Veils, that's one option. You can reflect those Ice 2s. He gets a Siren off of that, so that's kind of cheeky.
That's funny, yeah.
But I think after the levels from the D Machine grind, even if it's a medium to high level Ice 2, I think most of the characters should be able to absorb that, and you should be able to heal from.
He was looking for weapons for his Yang. He has a nice Ice Claw, which will be, which is nice against certain bosses, but against, I think Leviathan is actually weak against Thunder, and unfortunately does not appear to have that Thunder Claw.
I believe Blaze actually found a Thunderclaw early in the seed, so that's going to be interesting if he decides to go there at any time.
I didn't see if Blaze had a Siren that he was able to use to summon this double gold dragon fight, or if he just ran into it as a random encounter, but he's got this double gold dragon fight is another very popular grind fight. Normally you would use a Siren to summon it because it's a rare encounter here on the lunar subterrane, but they're susceptible to the weak spell, which we see Tella using, and then can be just bonked once to defeat them, and then you can use the life glitch on them to get even extra XP.
And River's now in that Leviathan fight. We see that Ice 2 hit Tella for about 320, so not a very devastating Ice 2 that Leviathan has here. The waves are going to be the more dangerous attack, but they're predictable and they do a percentage base, so as long as you can leave Rosa alive to heal when you get low enough, you should be fine. His melee fighters have tons of experience. It looks like he got that slingshot on both King and Yang, and they have skyrocketed in their HP and they're ready to go.
Yeah, honestly, Yang is a great character to slingshot as well, since we were talking about earlier that he needs to really get some levels behind him to get good. So at the levels that Rivers got him to, he's actually doing quite a bit of damage, as we can see.
And Blaze is hunting those bosses down in the lunar subterrane. Hopefully he's quick with his resets and not going to actually bother fighting these fights.
Yeah, he got some good XP from the double gold dragon fight that he took. I think it actually would be best if he ran into some rude bosses up here that he wouldn't want to take. I don't know what's left. Odin, Evil Wall.
Yeah, those would be nasty. He might take the fight, not in this room, but the one next to it, anyways, because that's would be 200k H. That Bob is definitely one that's worth resetting up.
Yeah, that's a nope.
But this one in the ribbons room here, the Vanilla D Lunars, is worth 200k experience with the 10 key items that he's got. So he might decide to go fight Mylon Z, but nope, he's doing the quick reset. That's going to be the fastest way to get through this, so that's good.
Yeah, Mylon Z, not even a particularly difficult boss either. All he does is hit with physical attacks, and so you can mitigate that with blinks, illusions. If you happen to have a moon veil, perhaps from a drop somewhere or a chest somewhere, that would be helpful. But yeah, good that he's resetting out of everything that is not Leviathan.
And there's that nasty Odin fight. So, yeah, Odin, Mamba, maybe if we see the evil wall, as you said, we could get all those evil bosses that you were mentioning.
Yeah, we saw all the lunar bosses already. We've seen a lot of the free bosses. King, Queen Eblin, Water Hag, the Cockabrina dolls are already out of the pool, so a lot of those are already gone.
Now Rivers has collected his crystal for completing all 5 objectives, and he is going to be heading to Zeromus.
Yes, he has the pass, so I imagine he's going to be flying right back down to the blue planet, and we'll head straight over to Troya to take the shortcut to the big fight.
Yeah, he doesn't have... he's done his grind. He should be ready to go. He's got a great party, great levels. Yeah, I think he's just ready to go.
Blaze has now face-checked everything on the moon, is exiting out. We'll see where he goes from here.
No, he's got to check that pale dim spot.
Oh, I'm sorry. You are correct. Yeah, he did not take the very first boss here on the moon.
Yeah, that's the awkward one because there's no save point near that one. Is he going to fly the big whale to Troya? Oh, I love that play.
Rex, there's a bunch of emotes, flags coming out in chat with a letter and a question mark. What does this mean?
Well, it means that we've got a question to ask. Why don't you go ahead and ask that, Maggie?
So, chat, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Yeah, because it is butt time.
Yeah, when we approach Zeromus, we like to ask the question because we don't actually move Zeromus around. We don't put him in the boss pool like we do everybody else. He's too big, he's too mean, he's too big and mean. So we leave him where he is, but we like to give him a makeover. Our wonderful artist and admin Scala Kitty has helped design. There's, I think, a total of over 450 sprites that Zeromus can take on when he turns into his final form here. So we're about to see who Zeromus is going to be tonight.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this, and good luck to Rivers on this final fight. Meanwhile, Blaze is heading to the giant now, so... Ooh, when we see a reset from Rivers, there must be something that he wants to set up first. Didn't have that curse string on Tala because for the grind, he needed that curse string to be off so that the weak spells would actually hit.
He was just teasing us. He knew that we were all getting our Z flags out, and then he was just teasing us.
I think it's because Zeromus was too mean and too big.
It's true. We talked about how big and mean Zeromus is.
But I mean, that's going to be something that's going to really bug Rivers, I imagine. Like that, just that little bit of time that he has to go back and do this all again. I'm sure he's not happy about that.
Yeah, and it's the little things like that we were talking about earlier that can potentially cost the game. If he doesn't know where his opponent is, of course. So if he and Blaze were in the final fight together, something like that, seconds, minutes, and seconds can really bring it down to the wire here.
And because of the bigness and meanness of Zeromus, River's trying to run away, unfortunately can't. Here comes the crystal that was going to transform him into the butt that we're going to kick.
And his true colors are emerging.
And we've got Hippimus. What is it, the new age retro hippie from Earthbound?
Oh, very nice. Looks like chat is confirming. Yes, it is from Earthbound.
A very fun sprite. But still has all the nasty attacks that Zeromus has. Those big bangs are no joke. Rosa right on the precipice of maybe having to take a full big bang in order to, or might be risky to take a full big bang at just over 2,000 HP.
Yeah, if she has the white shirt on, that will certainly help. That gives a nice boost to her magic defense and magic evade. But yeah, the around 2,000, like 2,200, I think, is about where you really want to be. 2,200 to 2,300 is where you want to be to really be safe for the full powered big bangs.
If she has the Pro Ring, that would also help as well, the Protect Ring. Pro Ring from a different Final Fantasy game. Going for basically a dual Zerk, it looks like is what he's doing. Just hanging out with Sid just in case an item needs to be thrown, just like an escape valve in case Rosa gets taken out by a unpredicted high roll of a big bang. That looks to be the strategy that Rivers is employing here.
Yeah, not a bad strat at all. Safety strat because Rosa is on the lower end of the HP safety pool like we were talking about. So in case she does get wiped out and then all you were to have left would be berserkers, that could be a pretty dangerous situation. So just holding Sid back, he's definitely safe from the big bangs, so he can bring the party back up if need be. And there we see it. There it happens.
Yeah, and that's exactly why. And this was just a real heads-up play by not berserking Sid in that situation. The other thing is, like, you might be able to wait until a black hole to berserk people, and you can revive at that point. But this time, you've just got a little bit more time throughout this entire black hole sequence to just heal up, re-zerk up as necessary, and be good to go from there.
Yeah, and if he were to go from that situation that he was just in with a high-powered Big Bang, Rosa going down straight into medial phase, that would be a pretty dangerous situation.
Meanwhile, Blaze has completed Objective 5, and it's going to be right on River's tails, heading to the Troya for the final fight.
Collecting his crystal. Gonna see him run back out of the giant now, and yeah, right behind Rivers here, getting into the Hippimus battle.
Yeah, I think at this point Rivers definitely has the edge, being in this fight, and it looks like he's going to be able to get through it all. Let's see how Rosa takes this big bang. Oof, another high roll, and Rosa goes down again. This release valve of Sid has been essential for him throughout this fight.
Yeah, definitely a very heads-up play by Rivers here. If he were to take a wipe at this point, that would be pretty devastating. We see Blaze actually going on and taking the CPU spot. He has not done a grind per se. He didn't do the D-machine grind that Rivers did. So I wonder if maybe he was looking for a little bit extra XP, but probably not in the form of Golbez.
Right. He did that double gold dragon fight, and then with the at 10 key items and the Leviathan fight there. And plus, I think he did a few more bosses overall than Rivers did, so he's at a little bit level. He's going to be lower level than Rivers for this fight if he goes straight there, but I think that's where we're at this point. If it was an easier boss than Golbez, I think he would have liked to defeat that for the little bit of safety experience there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure that's what he was looking for. But he decides to nope out of Golbez. Don't blame him at all. That's a very long and annoying fight with all the cutscenes that he would have to sit through for that. And he's out of the giant now. It looks like he's maybe going to do a little bit of rearranging. He flew back over to Mysidia, so I wonder if he's got anything else that he wants to do before he actually takes on the final fight.
Rosa finally survives a big bang over on River's side, able to cure up with the Cure 4, and we should be, it seems like this zerking has been going on pretty well. We might be nearing the end over on River's side. There's those rocks falling.
Yep, so Rivers is in the final phase of this fight, going to be taking it home any moment here.
There's the flash. GG's. Rivers finishes. Adjusted for that, it looks like the official time is 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 44 seconds. And Rivers is going to be moving on to face Invenerable in the finals of the Fabul Gauntlet. Big GG's to riversmccown.
And I think we have been joined by Rivers here in the booth. So GG Rivers, congratulations on your finish and on moving on to the finals.
Thanks. My apologies for my internet being terrible yet again. This is like 3 times in a week.
Well, you're striking 3 for 3 here, but it did not seem to deter you. You brought this run home. What did you think of that seed and that Leviathan hunt at the end there? What made you go to the Giant of Babel instead of to the more boss-dense moon first?
I wanted the D machine pretty much from the very start of the seed. Seeing that Tella, seeing that Kane, knowing that I would get to that Kane late because the Mega Sisters wiped me the first time. And I knew that Kane wasn't really going to bring a whole lot that Sid could unless I found a sword. I never did. So I was kind of happy with that the whole time. Then I got Edward, and I was like, don't really want a D machine of Edward. Not really my thing. Then I found Yang, and I was like, okay, well, that works.
Yeah, that DPS that you got with Yang at the end really made up for that. So while we were missing, can you tell us what we missed? We didn't see the boss of the King Queen spot that you were looking for.
King Queen spot was Ashura. Yeah, I noped out of that real quick and right back to the overworld.
So next up, you've got Invenerable to face to the finals. What are your thoughts on that?
Invenerable, I would call him a dear friend. If there's anybody who is like a rock star of this community right now, I feel like it's him. Obviously, he's playing pretty well. He's gone undefeated so far. However, if I say that, I preface that with kindness because I'm going to say, if I look at this chat every time that he plays, I think I should probably just cancel the finals. I mean, we've already run the finals layout, right? So we can just forget that this ever happened and just give him the prize right now. So, I mean, I'll talk to the admins about it, see how they feel.
I don't know. You might need to talk to chat about that because I think the chat and the community might have a little bit of something to say to you about that.
No, it was good, and yeah, this has been like a really rough day for me personally because I found out that my uncle had to be hospitalized, and obviously with the social distancing rules, we can't really see him. So that was kind of a monkey wrench to go through emotionally as I was playing. Glad for the distraction, honestly. Glad for the distraction.
Yeah, for sure. Well, very sorry to hear about your uncle and your family there, but hope things get better for you. And glad to be here. Glad that you were here. Glad you were able to make it. And thank you so much for still sticking it out and being here for us and for the community and for moonblazewolf as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And my condolences to Blaze. I saw what he did. It made sense. I totally get it. And it just was a fork in the road, and he took the wrong fork.
Right, yeah, that was something that we were discussing through the second half of the seed. Like, what's going to be the decision point that's going to be where either Blaze can really catch up and maybe overcome you, or just, like, make the wrong choice. And, like, when we saw that Leviathan there in the giant, like, this is going to be rough.
Yeah, when I saw that Leviathan, I was like, wow, I knew I wanted to go to the giant from the start of the season. I didn't know it would hold everything. But well, here we are.
You went from like 0 to 5 and almost nothing as far as those objectives, with so many of them being concentrated, and that Wyvern just being convenient when you needed to pick up that hovercraft anyways. So like all of them completed like back to back to back to back to back. So it was crazy.
Yeah, I was debating if that was a good time to do that, or like when I should come back to that, because the whole early part of the seed, it was a struggle fest with Sid's DPS not having a real weapon. And I was like, maybe there's something behind that Wyvern. Maybe I should check that Wyvern. I just kept putting it off. And thankfully got to it when I was already in go mode not go mode, 3 away, knew I needed one more, and just could ignore that treasure safely.
So it seemed like there was a bit of lack of weapons overall. Is that like one of the reasons that you were really happy to find Yang and have him add to your party?
Yeah, I mean, anybody there would have been great. Palin would have been great. Porum would have been great to slingshot. Like trying to think of people who I would not like to find there who were in the party. Like anybody would have worked. I had mediocre weapons. I sold out for that ogre axe, so I could have put that on somebody else. And yeah, I mean, happy to find Yang. Would have been happy to find anybody there. That's not Edward. just glad there wasn't a 6th character in the seed somewhere.
All right. Did you have any other final thoughts? Any threats that you want to pose to Invenerable for your fight coming up? Smack talk.
Threats and smack talk. No, not really. I'm good. I want to thank all of my supporters. I said I had 3 last match. It turns out I have like at least 10. So club is picking up exponentially. Watch out.
Well, GG again on your finish. It's been a real pleasure watching you play. You and Blaze have had some really fantastic races here this week. Really been a pleasure to watch you and commentate for you tonight. And just GG again on your win tonight and going on to the finals.
Thanks for continuing to put up all the great restreams, guys. Appreciate Baka sticking out the tracking and Val on the restream itself, and of course you guys in the booth. So thanks so much, and me and Envin will try to get scheduled as soon as we can, I guess.
Thanks. Looking forward to that match for sure.
Bye.
And that was Rivers, who will, of course, now be going on to the finals with Invenerable next week. And meanwhile, we will turn back to Blaze, who is finishing up the Hippiness battle here. Looks like his Rosa is down. His Rosa is, again, in the lower side of the HP, the safe HP pool for those big bangs, but bringing her back up, getting everybody cured up. Looks like he's got this battle pretty well in hand.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well. He is at a bit lower level and he doesn't have the advantage of Yang's not needing a lot of equipment when he's got the super high levels. But trying to do what you can. It looks like he's trying to use the jump to avoid the Big Bang, but we have tripped into media phase as we see rocks falling over on Blaze's screen. We are about to get to a finish here.
using that silk web, I think he was going to try to nerf a upcoming Big Bang, but fortunately that counter nuke went off on Sid, who had plenty of hit points to take it.
And there we go. Moonblazewolf has finished in its official time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 29 seconds. GG's to Blaze. Unfortunately, not taking the win here, but still a pleasure to watch him race.
Absolutely. All of these races have been absolutely phenomenal to watch, and I believe we have been joined by moonblazewolf. GG on your finish and coming in tied for third overall in the Fabul Gauntlet.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So let's start with, what were your first impressions? What did you think about this seed overall?
I mean, I really liked that start. Rosa and Sid is power coming out of the gates, but man, there was just nothing to really get going early. I was struggling to find any kind of DPS. I just could not get anything going. Could not get, usually like when you have Rosa, you can find some mute arrows, you can find a decent bow, and something like the Maga Sisters isn't going to be too much of a problem, but boy, they were my absolute nemesis tonight. And I mean, I think that's pretty much the main story of the seed there. I think there were a couple other interesting plays that I made that, maybe in a different, maybe if Leviathan's in a different spot, it gives me a chance. But I mean, all in all, I'm really happy about how I played. Just those rude Maga Sisters, I don't know quite what to say about that. I'll have to kind of look back and see if there was anything else I really could have done in the moment. But I mean, I didn't like completely beat my head against the wall with them. It's just I couldn't get through.
Yeah, that was really, it seemed like a brick wall for you early. I will say, before we go to on, we've got somebody in the chat, I believe their name is Scala Kitty, asking for you to tell us about your puppy.
Oh gosh, yeah. So I haven't really talked a lot about this past week, but it's been a pretty difficult week for me. I know we're all really dealing with a lot of heavy stuff right now. My dog passed away last Friday, and it was a really difficult time for me. In a way, I'm kind of glad that the quarterfinal round maybe got backburnered due to some of the other stuff that was going on behind the scenes. But I got a new puppy yesterday, and he is really cool. His name is Orion, and I will definitely be putting some pics out there for people to check out later. But yeah, we just got him yesterday, and he is a good boy.
All right, so GG's on the puppy for sure.
Hey, yeah, thanks. It's kind of like I was telling Rivers before the match, like today is just going to be a good day regardless. So I got to hang out with a little German Shepherd puppy all weekend. So
it sounds like I really want to say just to everybody that I think that this the whole tournament has been just a fantastic thing for everybody at a time when it has been kind of difficult for everybody. So I'm really glad that both you and Rivers were able to continue on with your matches this week, despite everything that was going on. So thank you for doing that. And like Rex said, congratulations on the puppy. It sounds like he's going to be awesome.
Yeah, thanks. He's made a really good first impression so far. But yeah, it's just I'm just so grateful that this event just happens to be going on right now when there's so much going on. And I just really hope that the event and the matches and the restreams and the hype and everything else that's gone into it, everybody's put in so much work, and I really hope that it is brightening people's days and giving them something to look forward to that's a positive, fun thing. And I know for me, being a participant and getting as far as I did, it was really something that helped me kind of focus on something else and, do something that I really love and enjoy. And it really has been very therapeutic, I would say, to be a part of this event. And I just love this community so much that, it's so open to so many people. Everybody gets to participate and have a role if they want. And we pick each other up and we take care of each other.
Well,
absolutely.
Did you have any final thoughts about tonight's race, or this is going to be your last one in this event? Maybe you've got some thoughts on this whole Fabul.
Yeah, absolutely. My goal coming into the event was to make the quarterfinals, and I kind of felt like I was playing really, really well all the way through. It was very validating for someone who's been playing the randomizer for as long as I have to put up a good finish in an event like this. So I'm just so grateful to everybody who's helped put this event on. I think the 1v1 is a fantastic format, and I hope we do more of that in the future. The big open races are really cool as well, but there's just something very fun about going head to head with somebody and, thinking about one specific person, how they're going to play, what kinds of mannerisms and decisions they typically like to make, and then using that to kind of plan out your own strategy and try to, do the things that you think will give you the best chance to win. And it was just a very stimulating exercise mentally, and I just absolutely loved it. And I imagine, and not everything is going to be 1v1 in the future, but I am definitely looking forward to the next highway to the Zeromus zone, community races, all the other fun stuff that we do. And I do hope that at some point in the future, we do another 1v1 event like this, because it was so fun.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you once again for everything that you've been doing throughout this race. Thank you for letting us watch you. Thank you for joining us afterwards. GG's, and we'll see you before too long here on Free Enterprise again, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the finals next week. Good luck to both Inven and Rivers. I'm sure it's going to be just a fantastic week of Free Enterprise.
All right.
And that was moonblazewolf coming in third overall in this tournament. Runner up to Rivers, who's moving on to the finals. So Rex, go ahead and wrap us up.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank our restream team once again. Baka Shinobi doing the tracking, and Valva Skunk on the restream. Without them, we wouldn't have a show. Everybody who's been organizing this tournament and everybody who helps manage this Free Enterprise Twitch channel. I want to thank everybody who's watching us tonight. This community is all of us, and it's important that we're all part of it. This was a great race. Also want to thank my co-commentator, Maggie the Cat. We're going to be heading you off to Dusty Griff, who right when we're done here. I'll let you have the last word here, Maggie.
Just again, thank you to everybody who's made this tournament and these races and these broadcasts possible. And thank you to Rex for sharing the booth with me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for these two racers. And I hope everyone has a great night.